the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Now, you told me over the phone, we just played that clip of the Super Bowl, and obviously the NFL season's over, hence we haven't really talked about it this episode.
Yeah.
But you said you have a new take on Tom Brady versus Joe Montana.
Well, it's not even a take on Tom Brady versus Joe Montana, but what I've been hearing a lot lately, and I don't think it's fair, is a lot of people are just going, well, that ends it, right? Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time. He's got 5.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not quite that simple. Because, first of all, no one's saying Bill Russell is the best basketball player of all time, right? He's got 11 in 13 years. So
correct.
We can't just ring count. The other thing is, before it was Brady had 5, it wasn't like, Montana and Terry Bradshaw are tied for second because they have 4, right? No one thought Terry Bradshaw was the third greatest quarterback of all time, right?
Not the guy talking about shingles.
No. Like, everybody pretty much, Montana and, Elway, Peyton, Marino, Favre, Brady in some order, right?
Sure.
And, look, I've already said Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But to me, the thing that I keep going to on Montana is, first of all, he was perfect in 4 Super Bowls. Perfect. 127 quarterback rating, never threw an interception, 3 MVPs in 4 games. I think Rice won the other one. That's half, that's half Montana's essentially. It's people keep also giving, so it's the 5 rings thing, but then people keep going, just the longevity. Tom Brady's doing this at 39 years old, and like, oh my God, how is he doing this at 39? And to me, it's like, well, you're not allowed to hit the quarterback anymore. Right? Like, Tom Brady is doing this at 39 because you're not allowed to hit the quarterback.
You can't even look at Tom Brady.
Name a quarterback from the 90s or the 80s besides Joe Montana who doesn't have Parkinson's, right? Like, Jim McMahon, I just saw stumbling through downtown Los Angeles, like, can I get $1? Can I get $1? Can I get $1? He won 1 Super Bowl, and then he was like, he wears sunglasses 24 hours a day, 7. He sleeps with Oakleys on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because his brain's rattled.
Yeah.
If you look at Montana's career, the one thing about Joe Montana, do you remember the Leonard Marshall hit that he saw on the Giants' run to the Super Bowl? Leonard Marshall blindsided Joe Montana, and it essentially knocked him out for the whole next season. And Steve Young, who was obviously a great quarterback, came in. He's a great college quarterback, went to the USFL.
Sure.
And was great. Shows up and takes over the next season, and they're great. Of course they're great because they're the 49ers with Bill Walsh and Jerry Rice and a great defense and a great quarterback coming off the bench who's younger and cheaper. And they were like, why, we love you, Joe Montana, but we're going to stick with the guy who's younger and cheaper and really, really good.
Yeah.
And also, you almost died last year, and because you missed the whole fucking season after that. And then Joe Montana goes on and has a great season with the Chiefs, takes them to the playoffs. They hadn't been to the playoffs. I think that's the last playoff game they won was with Joe Montana. So the idea, first of all, Montana took – if Tom Brady took that Leonard Marshall hit, would they drag Leonard Marshall out to the field and put Pedotti's mask over him and just put a bullet in his head and just like they would execute him on the 50-yard line, right? Like that hit could never happen.
So your argument is a lot of Montana's career, people want to bring in the longevity part, but the game was played differently.
No quarterbacks got to – the only quarterback that – I mean, you look at Brett Favre. Brett Favre had a painkiller addiction. Right?
Yeah,
like the dude was injured.
Painkillers and dick pics. By the way, that'd be a great name for a rap album.
Yeah,
Painkillers and dick pics.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, a lot of these guys, Peyton played into his 40s. Brady played into his 40s.
Drew Brees is old.
Eli's going to play in his 40s.
Philip Fudge and Rivers.
Eli's played more consecutive football games than Joe Montana might have started football games.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're not allowed to hit the quarterback at all anymore. Literally, if your hand grazes his face, that's a penalty. And Tom Brady missed 1 full season, but but he's still able to do it because he's not. I mean, at Tom Brady's age, Jim McMahon was like living at a bus stop in like Dubuque. You know what I mean? Like
poor Jim McMahon.
I know, but
just
I'm saying,
doing the
like,
Super Bowl shuffle by himself.
Joe Namath's out there just like kissing random people. Like, he's like drinking. He's drinking like Mike's Hard Lemonade and just like making out with dudes. He's still wearing a fur coat he bought in the '70s. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not wearing pants under there. Because he's all fucking.
He's fucking Looney Tune in the head.
My point is, Joe Montana 3 MVPs in just such a smaller window.
Yeah.
And I understand that longevity, of course, has to be a factor when you look at these guys because there are still guys who don't have longevity in the NFL today.
Sure.
You know, there are short windows of greatness. But Tom Brady versus Joe Montana, the fact that Tom Brady's like, oh, well, now he has 5. That's it. That's all we need to know. It's like Joe Montana is like he has Skechers that he has to wear just to walk properly.
My thing about Joe Montana is...
You know why he wears those Skechers? Because they have wheels in them, and he can wheel down. He lives in San Francisco, and he wheels down. He just goes down the hill on the wheels, so he doesn't have to walk. He couldn't walk those hills in San Francisco.
I knew how fucking loose the screws were in his head. Not this year, but the commercial debuted last year when he did that weird Papa John's commercial.
Who's that?
Joe Montana.
Oh yeah,
with Peyton Manning, where he's in the corner just. Like literally like a crackhead just eating the pizza, and you're like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like what's going on in here?
Tom Brady's going to be president one day because Tom Brady's just going to go right into a career. He's going to he's going to start doing this. He's going to be like,
and he's good looking.
He's going to make America a dynasty. I have a hot Brazilian. Like he's basically like, can you imagine Jim McMahon running for president?
I'd vote for him.
He'd be like, I'm going to tax you because I need money. Bottom line. I'm raising taxes because I have nothing. I live with a refrigerator, Perry. And
I think he's dead now.
Yeah. I use his carcass for warmth. I sleep inside of it like Luke Skywalker did in Return of the Jedi. Empire Strikes Back.
No, Empire Strikes Back. Planet Hoth. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I cut open William Refrigerator Perry's body and I live inside it for warmth. But you know what I mean? But Tom Brady.
Mental image of that, by the way, is glorious.
Joe Montana took more hits in that game against the Giants where they knocked him out for a year than Tom Brady's taken in his career.
Okay, then what about this though? You know, because you always say, "Oh, LeBron 6 straight finals." You know, what?
And this is the thing. People go like, "Oh, the rules were different. You could hand check in the '90s." Oh, let's see what LeBron would do when you could hand check.
But hold on,
like he's 6'9", 275. You think hand checking is going to stop LeBron James?
So Brady's been to 7 versus Montana's
absolutely
4.
Absolutely,
that's got to go a long way.
Right.
Super Bowls.
But again, Steve Young won a Super Bowl with the Niners in '95.
Yeah.
Right. Is it crazy to think that Montana maybe wins another Super Bowl between 90 and 95 and wins that 95 one? I totally agree with you. But let's, and also the 49ers division back then wasn't all that exciting. The Rams, the Falcons, the Seahawks. It wasn't the toughest competition. But Brady has all of this, he's got Belichick. I mean, I don't think anybody's arguing Belichick's not the greatest coach of all time, right?
I hope not.
So Montana had great teams. Brady had great teams. My point
Both
is,
had great coaches.
My point is everybody seems to just go, oh, it's
done.
It's Brady. It's like we've seen some Brady Super Bowl performances that weren't like, holy shit, he's the GOAT. If you had one drive for a Super Bowl win, you're starting on your own 10. You have 1 minute and 12 seconds left to go down and get a touchdown. Who are you taking, Montana or Brady?
That's a tough one, man.
Brady's like, oh, my God, I hope they don't find out with these footballs. And Joe Montana's like, hey, look, it's John Candy. Who wants to win the Super Bowl? Let's go.
No, but I would take either, obviously.
And then he'd put on sunglasses.
But I would probably
Deal with it.
I would probably take Montana. Or actually, as someone who used to root for the Bengals, I would maybe take Brady because Montana fucking killed us in the Super Bowl from the '88 season. Yeah. So you're right now on air. Are you saying you still think Joe Montana is the GOAT?
Well, to me, it's like it's two different things. Like you talk about. Remember how we talked about the 73 win Warriors team?
Yes.
When they talk about which quarterback has the most Super Bowls of all time, it's going to be Tom Brady. He owns that.
Yeah.
He has the most Super Bowls ever. He's been in the most Super Bowls ever. He's the most accomplished quarterback in NFL history. My point is, who would I want to have the ball with a minute left and they got to go 80 yards or 85 yards or 90 yards in a minute? I'm going to go with Joe Montana. He's not going to throw a pick. He didn't ever. He has the greatest.
I mean, that's an amazing stat. I think we've hammered it home, but I think people need to know never throwing an interception in 4 Super Bowls is amazing.
No, look at all the. I mean, I'm glad because my Giants were in 2 of them, but Brady didn't run away with any Super Bowls. Any. Joe Montana, 55-10 against the
Broncos
against Elway, another all-timer. You know, the drive that he had against Cincinnati, was that the only close Super Bowl he played?
Who else did they beat? No, their first Super Bowl against Cincinnati was a close one too.
Okay.
Which was played in Detroit, I think in 80.
Right. And they beat Miami. Right? Didn't he beat Marino in the only game Marino played in?
I don't know. So I know so he has 2 against Cincinnati,
Marino and the Dolphins, and Elway and the Broncos. And by the way, he beat Elway and the Broncos 55-10.
Yeah. I remember that game. That was amazing. Okay, who would you rather have in a Papa John's pizza eating contest? Brady. I think he's like a vegan. Joe Montana.
I'm going third. I'm going Jim McMahon. He doesn't know when he's full. He's like, oh, did I eat? Did I not eat? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't remember if I had a slice. Like, you didn't have any slices. He just keep eating. He just eat 200 slices of pizza. Like, are you sure I haven't
He's dipping the pizza and fucking the fridge is blood.
He's eating the box. It's like, it's good. When you put this garlic butter on it, it tastes just like pizza.
Can we get Jim McMahon in some goddamn commercials? Pay the man. He's homeless.
Get Jim McMahon commercials for the shake weight where he's just like.
Too soon, Joe Prano.
And also every quarterback that played in the 80s and 90s except for Joe Montana.
Yeah, it's always interesting when I see athletes be like,
where's Steve DeBerg, right?
Oh, good callback.
Yeah. Where's any of them, right? They all are sitting at their home, like trying to shoot themselves in the chest with a shotgun so that the NFL can study their brain. So that Will Smith can be like, oh, your brain was messed up. You know what I mean?
That's
a concussion reference.
I got it. I saw it in the theater.
They're all trying to, yeah. I mean, my point is it's a lot harder to play until you're 40.
You know how they do the Heisman House?
Yeah.
ESPN does the Nissan Heisman House, which, by the way, is bullshit because O.J. Simpson and Reggie Bush are never in those commercials. Right. I want them in those commercials. We need like an old quarterback's house where you put all the just, the Looney Tune fucking guys in there. Just, can you imagine like Jim McMahon trying to
can you imagine like Tom Brady walking in that house and Jim McMahon's arms just flailing him in the face and somebody comes in and throws a 15-yard penalty and executes Jim McMahon on the spot for rubbing his hand against Tom Brady's face, which is completely illegal.
Look, can you imagine like Jim McMahon trying to make like pancakes for like Steve DeBerg?
Jim McMahon has smacked himself in the face more times than Tom Brady has been hit in the face in the NFL.
All right.
He's like trying to flip pancakes. He hits himself in the face with the spatula.
I see where you're. Poor Jim McMahon.
Yeah. Him and Steve DeBerg and, Bernie Kosar. They have like a.
You know Bernie Kosar's daughter did porn for a minute?
Yeah, because her dad's brains rattled and they needed some family money. And she probably wore like a curly wig and jerked off guys' sidearm.
While they're just playing the U music.
By the way, when you can get a good Bernie Kosar throw sidearm reference into a porn scene, that's pretty good.
Matty Goldberg, you got to be put to the challenge. Yeah. Bernie Kosar narrating his daughter's porn reenactment.
Like the guy's just like too short, and she's like, "Oh, I'll just go Bernie it over the middle."
I'm getting a mental. I'd take a side hand job.
She just walks in. She's just like, "I just want you to Webster slaughter this vagina." Man, we really got to break this one out for YouTube.
We're going deep in the references.
Yeah. The Dirty Sports Podcast.